Hey, it's Mike Hambright with FlipNerd.com. Welcome back for another exciting flip show. Today I have with me Dawn Erling, who is the founder of SellThisMobileHome.com. She's an expert investor in mobile homes and mobile home parks. And if you're like me and have completely ignored this space, you need to listen to Dawn for a few minutes to really understand that there's some incredible opportunities and returns in this space. Before we get started with Dawn, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Dawn, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good to see you again.
Good to have you, to be had here.
Good to be had. Yes, it is good to be had. So, you know, we recently met, I guess, over the past few months, and I saw you speak about mobile home investing, and it was just incredibly intriguing. I actually had somebody else on the show a while back, and it was somebody, I don't know if you saw the show, that he made a promise to himself that he was going to retire from his job as a mechanic by the time he was 30. And so, well, I'm sorry, 25. So he was 20 at the time. I may be messing up the years here. 25 getting to 30, or 30 or 20 getting to 25. So anyway, in 5 years, he planned to leave his job behind through investing in real estate, and he did it all with mobile homes. Literally on his, I think, 25th birthday, maybe it was his 30th birthday. Okay, I'm screwing this all up. But on his 30th birthday, he literally walked in and resigned from his job, and he was able to do that with mobile home investing. It was just, interesting story. But between that and shortly before I met you, I'd heard his story and then heard a little bit more about investing in mobile homes, and it was just fascinating, the types of returns and really the opportunity in that space. But before we get talking too much about the opportunity, why don't you introduce yourself to folks that maybe don't know you, and talk about how you found your way into mobile home investing?
Well, great. Thank you. Yeah, my name's Dawn Erling. I'm originally from Philadelphia metro area. I actually got into real estate 21 years ago. I know I look really old, right?
No, you look young. You look younger than that.
I actually was blessed to be able to start at a young age with a builder, and actually he opened up my mind to something other than a job. I worked with him for many, many years as basically a land sourcing, doing land sourcing, basically bird dogging land for him. That job ended up ending. I moved out to Utah, and I was trying to figure out how I could end up continuing on with those types of resources and getting money. And so I said, well, I've got an X amount of dollars. I don't trust myself. I'm used to what he used to do, because he used to have, millions of dollars behind him. Yeah. And so I decided, well, the least expensive thing I can see that's a house that I can make money off of, and maybe even have cash flow coming in, is a mobile home. So I started looking at mobile homes and decided from there that it was basically my criteria is I put in my money and I need to get at least double or triple my initial investment back out and cash flow over time when I go to resell it. Yeah. So I've been doing that for well over 9 years, and that sprung into mobile homes on land, as well as also owning mobile home parks. So yeah. Well, what really blew my mind and caught my attention is when I heard you give a statistic on the number of homes or households in America that are actually mobile homes. So what is that number? Right now it's around 10-12% of the actual housing opportunities that people have out there, and people that reside are in actually manufactured mobile home, trailer homes, whatever they want to call them. Yeah. But they're all within that space. Absolutely.
I got to believe that everybody that just heard you say that is equally shocked as I was, because I never would have thought that it's 10% plus of homes in America are actually mobile homes.
It's a crazy phenomenon. Yeah. The thing is that most people, we were just, Boston. I was just in Boston, 15 minutes outside of Boston, heading toward Malden area. And actually that was 2 weeks ago. And there was 4 trailer parks within the surrounding area where my hotel was. Yeah. So, and I say trailer park, mobile home, manufactured home community. Yes. I don't want to offend anybody, but. Yeah. But there was, I mean, my clients that I was working with were surprised. They'd never seen them before. And they'd lived in the area and had driven past them until I pointed them out. They didn't notice them. So once you start looking for them, it's amazing how many you'll find.
Yeah, I guess they're typically kind of tucked away, or they're usually, they're not in prime real estate spots. Sometimes they are, though, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about just the general opportunity. I mean, I know that part of the opportunity is that it's probably the most affordable housing that exists in America. So there's a tremendous amount of demand for homes. So if you want to rent them or even resell them, there's probably a tremendous opportunity to sell. They're probably fairly easy to sell. But just talk about, maybe talk a little bit about the opportunity and maybe why you think so many folks kind of turn their nose to it.
Well, I think what it is a lot of people don't like being possibly told what they can and what they can't do, or the obligation of having to pay lot rent, because a majority of the homes that we do buy are within somebody else's park. It was kind of the gateway to me being able to get into mobile home park investing by understanding how that worked, and so that definitely helped out that way. But I think a lot of people just don't like have to worry about the dollars per month and somebody dictating what you can and can't do and who you can rent to within a community. There are a lot of parks that will not allow you to rent the actual home out in their park. You have to sell it. So maybe it's like a lease option or seller finance. I think another thing, too, is a lot of people don't think that there's a lot of money to be made in them. And my average returns are 36 to 96% year over year. Yeah. We've had ones that have been infinity, but I'm not going to tout those. But yeah. I would say that's pretty decent returns in consideration of where I've seen site-built homes going. Sometimes in some areas, because I do the site-built thing too, you can see 15, 16, 20% returns. But that's not as frequent as you once were able to find them.
Right. So the interesting thing to me, I know there's a lot of ways to make money in mobile home investing, is it seems that some of the bigger opportunities are financing plays where you can effectively seller finance folks. And the fact that from what you had said, when I heard you present before, is that you're able to buy these for so cheap because the cost to move them, if somebody wanted to move them, is prohibitive. They'd be better off to just, in many ways, almost give it away.
It's almost the total value of what the home is to actually move it. And it depends. If you have a double wide, that's times two of those costs. And so, in some markets you can move it for $2,500. Most markets you're looking at $5,000 to $8,000. That's tear down, transport, and then set back up. And then you might have certain restrictions or requirements as far as awnings and carports and porches and stuff like that, which would be additional costs.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about, given the size of the market that, again, I'm still surprised by. Talk a little bit about, how you find deals.
I would say the gem is the park managers. I get tons and tons of referrals. In fact, this morning before noon, my time, I had already sold a home that I had a referral from the park manager. She had actually been referring buyers to me too. So sometimes I guess they can help you buy it and also help you sell it. Crazy, huh? As well as also the other one that I did was actually another referral as well. And they help. Once you let them know, it's just like a real estate agent or a bird dog. Once you let them know what you're looking for, they'll screen through their park and they'll direct only those specific types of individuals that are motivated enough to you. And you go out, take a look at it, and complete the transaction. So the vast majority of it, I would say, is a lot of referrals, park managers, residents within the park, past people that have owned or bought homes with us or sold homes with us.
And I guess park managers are incentivized because they want to get the lot rent, right?
Right. And they also, if it's a person's a deadbeat, they want to get them out of there quick. If they can help them sell their home and the person is going to end up being evicted, they'd rather not have to worry about doing the paperwork for the eviction. And so we can actually help the park manager and the park owner with being able to turn those homes over, get a decent, fix it up, and then be able to get a decent party in there to help contribute to the benefit of the park.
So these are kind of a hybrid really between a single family home and renting, and the fact that they own the home, they may own the home, but they're paying lot rent. So talk a little bit about how, if somebody were to be a deadbeat and get evicted, they're essentially getting evicted from the lot, and it's like, take your home somewhere else, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And so that's why if they can't move it, the park, in most cases, based off of the lease agreement, has the right to basically repo or seize the home and not allow them to enter the property. Because
Okay.
the property, they own the property, and they could basically put up essentially a no trespassing sign and say you're not allowed back into the home.
That's fascinating. That was my question. And this may be different in different states. So they don't necessarily need to go through a traditional foreclosure process.
As far as the park ownership with the lease agreement, it would be a tradition. Well, it would be every area has its own little nuances as to whether they have a specific mobile home park, manufactured housing, Landlord Tenant Act in place, which is protocol and procedure for that. But a lot of them at least follow the traditional landlord tenant procedures for eviction.
Okay.
It is a lease agreement. Unless it's a co-op. It's different co-op.
If they wanted to evict somebody that wasn't paying the rent, so they could literally just claim ownership. They don't necessarily have to be foreclosed on, notified, go through a trustee sale, all that stuff like you would in a traditional home.
It's just like having a shed that was left on a property after you were evicted, or like your personal items. You've got 30 days to get your stuff out of there, and if you don't, they have the right to basically to seize it, or depending on what the landlord-tenant restrictions are, because it's considered personal property,
right?
Sitting on their land, and so it's just like I was just likening it onto the typical rental agreement that you would have with if you end up taken back evicting a tenant in your house. Their personal items, they've got 30 days in a lot of markets. If they don't come back and get it, you can go ahead and take possession of it. So similar type of a scenario. Okay,
that's really interesting. So talk a little bit about the different ways to invest, and not so much like the seller financing, but I know that there is obviously owning entire parks, owning just the homes, and of course seller financing or renting. I guess talk about some of the main ways that you or the typical investor invest in mobile homes.
Yeah, so the I guess you could say kind of the entry level, least expensive way to get into this arena of mobile home investing would be the individual homes within the park. Obviously, you want to be investing in good, solid parks. I buy different parks than what I invest individual mobile homes within the park. So obviously the mobile home land, I mean, you can snag parcels of land that have zoning for that and be able to bring in mobile homes. We get mobile homes for free on a regular basis. We get basically wholesale prices for moving the mobile homes on there. And a lot of times we have individuals are looking for a recreational or timeshare or vacation type opportunities. And a lot of times we can sell it to them with seller financing. So basically it's a land home package. Out in sticks, if you will, an unincorporated area, and then you have the ones that are grandfathered in the better, more residential, closer to the city type areas where you have the mobile home on the land. And you can invest. You can basically sell that just like traditional real estate. So a lot of people stay away from those because they don't know what to watch out for. And then it's you can do the improvement of the land and put basically your own little mobile home park on there based off what the zoning restrictions are. You can also buy some of these existing mobile home park and then add to it depending on what the zoning restrictions are as far as additional land that they might be selling with it, and then actually buy a turnkey park basically that's operating. So we buy a lot of parks that need some love, I guess you could say. 50 to 75% occupancy is kind of where they're at, or even less than that, and we'll turn them around and put them back in the market, and in some cases sell them, or just be able to have the cash flow coming in. Right.
So are they still building mobile home parks?
In the unincorporated areas typically. Because it's very difficult. There is one of the ways in which to be able to determine whether they're more favorable or not to that approach would be identifying whether they've recently changed the manufactured housing zoning restrictions and code restrictions. If there's been some recent amendments done to it, the current jurisdiction probably doesn't necessarily like mobile home parks. They're more readily looking for condos and things like that. It's unfortunate because people like the option of being able to have their own parcel of land, if you will, that they can occupy and be able to have their individual home and live separate from other people, if you will.
Yeah. You probably see some of the same things. I don't know where this comes from, but anyway, on Facebook all the time, I'll see that somebody posted a design. It's very utilitarian. A designer. It looks like a high-end home, but it's like 600 square feet. And it's just these. It's basically like new age modular homes, right? So, I mean, the opportunity is there for, there's definitely a movement towards people being okay living in smaller spaces and, having housing be less of an expense of their total, disposable income. So it seems like there is just a general opportunity to add more parks, but I guess part of the problem is the fact that a lot of the better homes probably are closer to, in town to metro areas instead of way out in the sticks.
Yeah, and obviously from a preference standpoint, a lot of people want to be able to have a reasonable commute. In fact, I just sold a mobile home to a gentleman who was paying over $1,100 a month rent. That's just rent. That wasn't his utilities. He couldn't have his dogs with him. And so he opted to move into our home, have an $800 a month payment plus another, $30, $40 in utilities and be able to have his dogs there. He's got a fenced in yard now. He has a double wide. It's 1,300 square feet and it's, it's all cleaned up, brand new roof. And he's like, I can call this home. He basically was already planning when he was walking through the property with me as where he's going to put everything. Yeah. And from an affordability standpoint, there's a lot of markets where the rents are just insane. Right. And, a lot of cases, a lot of people, and I'm getting a lot more phone calls this way, people looking for more affordable housing options, and they want the same storage, they want the same square feet, but they want to have a backyard. They want to have a nice, quiet place to live and not have to live on top of everybody else. And it'd be affordable.
Yeah, I was at, this was like 5 years ago, I was at the Texas State Fair, which is, for those that know, is massive. And they had some mobile homes on display. I was like, just happened to be walking past them. I checked them out. I mean, once you're inside, especially for newer ones, you wouldn't know that you're inside of a mobile home.
Absolutely, drywalled. Yeah. They have rounded corners.
Granite counters and everything. It was crazy.
Nice cabinets. They try to keep them as light as they can, but the engineering of them. In fact, the thing that's interesting is a lot of your more green or energy efficient items originally were tested in manufactured homes back in the 80s and late 80s, 90s, if you can believe that one. Yeah. As far as storm withstanding and stuff like that, there's been changes since 1994 from a construction standpoint in the way that they're set up. So they do get a bad rap in a lot of cases as far as being tin can shacks or not necessarily secured correctly. Because they're going to, whenever a tornado or a high windstorm goes through, they always take pictures of the trailer parks. So. Yeah,
they're supposed to be tornado magnets. So.
Yes. Yeah. But the newer ones, if they're set up right, are to withstand, I think, over 130 mile an hour winds. So
Well, I know you train a lot of investors. You have some training programs that you teach other people how to invest. So just give some general advice on folks that are interested in getting started in real estate investing. So you've got kind of people on maybe on two different ways. One is maybe like you're looking for an affordable way to get started in real estate, and they're low cost, so presumably easier to get involved with. Mm-hmm. And then you've got people that maybe are veterans in other areas, and they just don't quite realize, or they don't until this show, the opportunity for pretty significant returns. So talk just generally about how you kind of advise people to get started or how they can learn more.
So as far as learning more, sellthismobilehome.com. You can post properties there. We have properties listed there. We have services there as well as our education. So that's a great portal for everybody. We want it to be a one-stop shop in the future for everybody. We're still working on some of those pieces. As far as where to get started, the big thing is this: you need to identify what your goals are. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get, how much money, where are you going to get your money from? Or if that is a case where you don't have cash to get into it, are you going to have to negotiate certain types of transactions? And a lot of times you can do payments with these individuals, just like you would with site-built homes. And so a lot of the techniques that you use or strategies that you use for traditional site-built homes, as far as lead generation, obviously a little bit of a different twist. You're putting mobile home in there. I buy mobile homes. Yeah. And where you place them is a little bit different, but overall same type of approaches to be able to make money and also to be able to generate leads. The big thing is then once you've identified what your goals are, then is start doing like Google searches for mobile home park, manufactured home park, manufactured home community, trailer park, and you're going to be amazed on Google Maps as to how many little red dots pop up, and then just start driving through and seeing, or take a look at the areas and decide whether you feel comfortable going to those areas. Yeah. And then the big thing then is capture the contact information and call the park manager and get a feel for what is it would you feel comfortable working with that individual? Because it has to be a great working environment between you two. And then the other thing is getting a feel for what types of rent do they charge, how many homes do they have in the community, what kind of a mix, and then is a park manager willing to work with somebody that's an investor? Do they have a need? And some of them don't even realize that they have options other than just themselves and their financial resources to be able to turn the park around.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, like in the single-family home space, it's just a hyper-competitive business right now, especially as we sit here in 2014. The market is hot, yes. And there's money coming in from all over the country, and I would say it's hyper-competitive. What do you feel about the general competition in the mobile home space? I know that it's one reason or another looked down upon by some investors, but I know there's other people like you that have this jewel in the rough that nobody knows about. So, I mean, how competitive would you say the space is?
You're going to have other individuals that are going to be buying within the same park, but I do site build homes as well as also the mobile home space. And I've seen exactly what you're talking about, Mike. Obviously, all throughout the country. I travel all throughout the country. And I've dabbled in the mobile home side as well as also site build home throughout the country. There are so many more opportunities for me to be able to snag mobile homes. I can't even keep up with how many leads I have coming in. And there's tons of people buying, especially right now. And, the closer you are to tax time when they get their tax returns, the easier it is to be able to sell it to them with a down payment or to have them cash you out or to at least get a decent security deposit from the individual and then, start being able to produce income from them. Yeah. Beginning of this year, we snagged 10 houses. I mean, boom, 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 boom. And we have one left that's a complete major rehab that we're doing. But all of those 10 homes are cash flowing. We're well over $2,000 positive cash flow a month. 10 little trashy trailers that nobody thought you could make money on. And we're doing maybe one or two homes in the same space a month and struggling for leads to find leads. So it definitely has a lot of opportunity. There is some competition from other investors, but not near the amount of competition that you have in the traditional real estate space. Definitely.
So talk a little bit about, I guess if you seller finance them, it's probably not quite as big of an issue, but talk about just general property management, how you do that, and do you advise folks, and I'm not even sure exactly what you do, if you only invest in the area where you live, or there's a lot of single-family investors now that are able to basically buy all over the country and that's just, with technology, you can effectively be there without actually being there. It's certainly unlike you could even a few years ago. But talk about, how you typically advise folks to kind of manage or buy them close to where they live, or is it okay to just go wherever?
As far as going from a distance standpoint, if you're really in good with the park manager, they'll watch the property for you like a hawk. They'll identify when there looks like there's something wrong with the property. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten texts or phone calls from these individuals. And the reason why they do that is because I'll offer them back kickbacks as far as gift cards and things like that, just saying thank you for your extra time and effort. And it's amazing how far that goes on off of maybe $100 or $300, and they're still referring people. And the other thing is too, is a lot of the people on either side of the park, of the respective home that you own, if you know those people too, or you have somebody that's a handyman that's doing your repair work that lives in the park, they're going to be watching out for it too. So I've used a lot of those resources because I travel a whole bunch. I'm maybe in my home state maybe 8 days out of a month. And so even though I invest in my home state, I'm basically doing it from a distance. And the park managers will watch it like a hawk for me. We put lock boxes on the houses, and we give them the codes, and they can go in, and when I'm back in town, or we have a handyman or our repair guy will go back and check on the properties on a semi-regular basis. And so we have a lot of people going in and out. So even from a distance, it could be a good resource. Down in Florida, came across a great real estate agent that specializes in the mobile home piece, and she also does property management as well. Can help you run it out to the snowbirds because she has those resources. She has a waiting list. And so there's resources like that too, even in the mobile home industry. So there's tons of similar opportunities as far as real estate goes, similar to real estate. But the extra added benefit is we'll have park management on site. So if you have park management on site and they know what you're trying to accomplish and they have a similar goal and they like you, they're normally going to help out with the property management for you.
Yeah. So specifically, when you're investing in entire parks, Talk a little bit about, is your strategy there to basically rent as many of them as you can, or are you looking to try to sell or finance them? I know you said some park owners don't allow rentals in there. You have to own or maybe have a lease option or something like that. But talk a little bit about your general strategy for owning a park.
Yeah, great question. It depends on where the finances are and what the opportunities are in the marketplace. In a lot of cases, we can get more per month if we offer it with a seller financing versus as a rental, just because of what the demands are and what the needs are. Right. A lot of our lower end parks, from a rent standpoint, we can make them scream like crazy with the mobile home as well as also the land itself. But that's the cool thing with mobile home park investing is you don't have to worry about doing a condo conversion on an apartment complex and have all that expense and all that downtime. You could have two homes sitting next to each other that have different strategies. I mean, you could have one where you're renting out the house and the land. You could have one where you're doing seller financing and you're renting out the land, and you have different types of cash flow opportunities coming through with that park. And so that's the thing that I love about mobile home parks is I don't have to worry about a lot of all that complicated, zoning or code restrictions and modifications and then separately deeding and all the other stuff. I can do whatever I want within the park as long as it meets the code and zoning requirements. Sure, and it makes sense cash flow wise.
And how do you find parks? How do you find entire parks for sale?
A lot of it is via bird dogs in the industry. LinkedIn, like crazy, ends up having tons and tons of opportunities being sent to you. So once people know that you're actively investing what you're looking for, they'll send you stuff. So a lot of the brokers, a lot of the actual individuals in the market space. And then the other thing is some mobile home dealers in the area will give you a heads up as to what's happening within a park. Let's see some of the other options. Just simply, we've done some direct mail before. And then just investor groups networking that way. So we've done a lot of networking to be able to find those types of resources, LoopNet, stuff like that.
Yeah.
On our parks and
since you travel so much, I mean, generally speaking, as you kind of look across America, are there bigger opportunities for investing in mobile homes in some parts of the country versus others? Or
yes, there are. And the thing is, though, is Utah as a whole, which is where my base is. That's where I started, and that's kind of where my passion is. I've got a really good rapport with a lot of parks and park managers within this area. It's not really predominant, like the mecca for mobile homes. Yeah. And we've done very, very well. We can't, like I said, we can't keep up with it. And we also have competition in the same space. South Carolina is the number one as far as the largest population of mobile homes in the whole entire country. And then I think it's North Carolina after that. And I think it's Virginia after that, or Texas. End up having your different ranking after that. But I think there's opportunities pretty much anywhere. But there definitely, if there's a larger population of it, or it's more readily acceptable or considered a housing option, more readily considered housing option or alternative for people. I think you have more flexibility, of more options, you have more opportunities. I think it's easier for people to get financing to be able to cash you out in those market spaces.
Sure, yeah.
Just because that's where a lot of people live. So
Right. Awesome. So for folks that want to learn more about what you're doing or some of your educational opportunities, where do they go?
Well, they can go ahead and take a look at sellthismobilehome.com/premium to learn a little bit more about our training system that we offer. You're more than welcome to go ahead and sign up for a free account that we have on our website. Just go to sellthismobilehome.com and go and hit register. And then you'll be able to have access to the listings. I have blog posts on a regular basis there, videos of some of the different properties that we've done. As far as the mentoring goes, we have basically a step-by-step 5-week guide for you guys to understand how to get started, what to do, what to watch out for based off of what I've learned through my years in the business, as well as also videos of not only of instructional videos, but also real-life examples of me going through parks throughout the country. As well as also evaluating some of our homes. When we first get into them, what do we look for during the rehab, as well as also post-rehab, what does it look like? Awesome, so feel free to join us there.
Well, Dawn, thanks for joining today, and thanks for sharing your info. It's a very interesting space. So
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully, some folks that hadn't even considered this will definitely get a hold of you and learn some more about it. It's definitely it's caught my interest. So.
It's an amazing opportunity. It's just, you just have to take in consideration think a little differently. That's all.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Dawn, thanks for joining today. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.